Hi, and welcome everyone to Kitchen Table News. I am your host, Professor Tuck. Hi, and welcome to our nightly news segment where tonight we're going to be talking about how the world is basically on fire and burning down. Sorry, guys, I am exhausted. I'm going to take a couple minutes to get into it, just get you guys in here. If you guys want to ask any questions, say hi to whoever's here. Um, but okay, so the everybody. So I put a survey question out. Oh, there was some. Oh, okay. I put a survey question out, asking kind of like what topic mattered to you. Is it domestic civil unrest? Is it what's going on between Ukraine and Russia, or is it with do you want to know what's going on with us in China? And kind of like how do you what topic do you want? There's actually, if you haven't taken the survey, hey Joanna, glad to see you tonight. Um, if you don't want the or excuse me, if you want to participate in that poll, because I'm going to make a little bit of a change. But the thing is, all three of those are interconnected. Most people are saying, "Hey, I want all three," but I would really, if you could. I mean, I'm kind of seeing where everybody's going. People are more worried about either a civil war or war with China, but they want to hear about all three, of course. But it seems like the more pressing issue is kind of like a cross between those two. So what's up, Tommy? Nice to see you. Occult, Joanna, Beth, Matthew. All right, we have our regulars. Hey, what's up, Beth? So Joanna, good to see you. Uh, okay, so they're all intertwined. Right now, what's not happening, what we don't know. Okay, so there's four main players on the board. Okay, and I'm going to break this down. Some of you guys know that my other channel, before I kind of fucked it up and stuff like that, my other channel was based upon a game called Conflict of Nations World War III. You have jihadists on there that are using it for tactical training. You have foreign military officers, such as I've met a Greek officer and a French officer on there as well, and those guys will kick your butt. Even like a second grade lieutenant will definitely come and school you. You learn a lot about tactics and battle, and that's actually how I became such a top-notch player. But that is kind of what gives me the insight on things that are going on. The average propaganda is, oh yeah, US is going to go to war, we're going to win, we've got the best military, we've got the best technology and all that other stuff. But the technology doesn't mean as much as you think, because what you've got to understand is that there are doctrines. You have the American doctrine, you have the European doctrine, and then you have the Eastern doctrine. The European doctrine is based upon UK, France, and Germany. The Eastern doctrine is based upon Russia, and the American doctrine is based upon us. Each one of them has their strengths and has their weaknesses. And so, if we're going to go up against China and Russia, well, both of them are under Eastern doctrine. What are the strengths and weaknesses of Eastern doctrine, and what is it that gives them the power? Because here's the funny thing. Um, the way that the American doctrine and the European doctrine are set up is that we have so many vulnerabilities that are being exploited by the Eastern doctrine that, yeah, you go in there with that arrogance, and if you've got an officer that doesn't know what he's doing, a commander that doesn't know what he's doing, what's going to end up happening is, yeah, you'll get overran. But if you have competent leadership, which the Russians do, they've got battle hardened. They've already been, kind of sparring against the West. We've got an American general in Germany that is calling the shots in Ukraine. Okay, um, okay, Matthew. I'll get to the questions towards the end. So it just with all of that, I think that just so. Anyways, you got the different doctrines. So, what is the strengths and weaknesses of the Eastern doctrine? What is the strengths and weaknesses of the American and the European doctrine? Okay, the American and European doctrine were designed to be able to complement each other, because the European doctrine is built um, based upon the a ground war with Russia. The American doctrine is at arm's reach. So before an infantryman ever shows up to the front line, the massive air power that the Americans have is what gives us our strength. So it's not necessarily, I mean, yes, our soldiers are good at what they do and they're very well trained, but also on the what gives them the competitive advantage in most situations is the fact that they can grind down an enemy so that they don't really have to spend much time. Because the flaw in the American doctrine is it's designed to cost the least amount of lives while doing the most amount of damage without regard to collateral damage. Whereas the Eastern doctrine is more of a defense based doctrine. That's where the rocket propelled artillery comes from. This is where some of uh, in my opinion, I think that their air defense is much better as far as like anti-air. And the thing is you've got vulnerabilities between your strike fighters and your air superiority. Your air superiority are faster and lighter because they're meant for air combat, and so therefore they can catch up to, like, let's say a strike fighter or another air superiority fighter and take them down. But with the strike fighter, it is heavier, it is slower, it is meant to go in there and drop munitions, and so therefore that makes it vulnerable. You've also, if you want to, and usually like what we did with the shock and awe when we went into Iraq, is that we first took out their air defenses, because once you take out their air defenses, the American air superiority, the air power that we have, and the reach that we have, not only with our carrier groups but with our air force and all of our aerial assault. Not only are we able to move quicker, faster, take more territory quicker, but what happens when all of a sudden you get stopped? You hit that brick wall and you come to a grind. And that is really where the vulnerability of the American doctrine comes from, is because it's meant to be on the offensive and constantly be moving. Okay, that's why I liked using the American doctrine, is because the American doctrine is all about moving, 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 moving. If you're not moving, you're vulnerable. And whereas the Eastern doctrine is set where if you're moving, you become more vulnerable. So you create a defensive tactics and defensive strategies. So to say that technology is so superior by the Americans, yes, we do have superior technology in the areas where we excel at, but we're not going to advertise our vulnerabilities. Why? Because then that tells our adversaries we want them to figure it out on their own. Well, the Eastern doctrine is set up to exploit the vulnerabilities of the Western, or of the American doctrine, and to be able to keep the mechanized forces of the European countries in a slow grind. That's what their anti-tank divisions are, because some of the Leopard, I think it's the Leopard 2 or Leopard 3 tank, is so much better than the previous versions, or even better than our Abrams, because it can move faster. It has lighter armor, but it's better. The Leopard tank, honestly, that's one of my favorite tanks. I used to like the Abrams because I was American, but once I started, as I was learning the game, I was learning the different things. So when it comes to looking at who's going to win and who's not, if you each country, it is in their best interest to keep you loyal through the mass media. That's why everything that's being released now, that artificial intelligence is getting into the algorithm, anybody that wants to stand up and voice an opposition is going to get throttled down, get throttled back. Hey, what's up, Invisible Man? Gonna get throttled back, because the system is geared towards making sure that they influence your decision, to make sure that you actually believe what they want you to believe. And so the way because the way that the internet is now set up, especially with AI serving you everything that you want, and the parameters that are put in there, if you want to know more about it, come over, become a free member on Patreon. I shared a video that kind of does a deep dive explanation, kind of explaining this, and it's for free members and for paid members. So that's something that you, as an individual, just you got to realize that you're not getting the full story. You're lucky if you come across people that are giving the alternative narrative and stating a good case, so that you at least have the ability to hear the other side. But everything that we hear in media, and including alternative media, because I'm listening to things and I'm like, but you're missing this point, and you're missing this point, and you're missing this point. And it's like either they're not really digging deep and they're just going with, let's be surface level, let's just go patriotic, because they have their slanted bias. America's great, I don't need to really fact check, here we go. and then put it up there, not realizing that they're putting out information that probably shouldn't be being put out, because there's a lot of propaganda going on. You guys will understand fifth generation warfare like no one else, because this is what's being used against us and against sovereigns. So this is what China and the United States are fighting for. And all of this really boils down to artificial intelligence and who wins that race. Because whoever wins that race will essentially control control the world for the next 50 to 100 years, if not longer. And here's the other thing. In a lot of ways, we're being put in the same position that Japan was being put in. Japan, we put an embargo on Japan for oil, and they asked us to lift the embargo, and we said no. And they said, well, you're no longer neutral then, because you're siding with the allies, and so therefore they bombed Pearl Harbor. Uh, and that was the whole thing. Well, you know what? The United States, with the way that we're being cut off from technology and technology metals coming out of China, which has basically cornered the market, it's forcing a cataclysm to war, because the United States wants to win this artificial intelligence race, but the United States needs all of these metals for processors, for chips, and stuff like that. And considering China is the only place where you can get it done, or at least that's where the whole world goes, because it's a very toxic process. That's the problem with it. It's a very, very toxic process. And so again, it's I think we're going to be pushed into this war in essentially just out of our own survival, and thinking that we would put China under our thumb. What's really happening is the roles are now reversed, and we are Japan and they are America. And now that they're putting that embargo on us, that we're being forced to, for our own self-preservation, to keep our relevance and not lose our holding in the global theater, we are going to be forced into war. And that's really where it's going to go. And all of this started from Donald Trump starting a tariff war with the Chinese, not really thinking it through. Okay. Donald Trump is losing support among Republicans. Donald Trump is losing support amongst the public. I don't necessarily believe the polls, but I think that it is a leading indicator that there is some stuff there. So let's go ahead and go through and get some comments, because I know you guys were wanting to say stuff. If you guys have any questions, please put them in all caps. If you want to know my opinion on something, let me know. I will give you the filtered and censored version, because I still like to make money on YouTube. If you want to know the uncensored version, you've got to come over behind the paywall, because privacy starts behind the paywall over on Patreon, and I'm very anal about privacy. So that means anything said on there stays on there. You don't bring it off. So let's see here, Matthew. Okay. So let's see, Tommy. Okay, Beth. I'm mostly into your homesteading journey, your story, and what I'm here for. I can get the news anywhere. What you're doing is more interesting than flanks politics to me. Okay, but here's the thing. I've got to be able to raise money. I have to raise money for projects. I'm living off of less than $300 a month. And so I'm trying to save money to be able to repair the roof and do projects. But in order to do that, I either have to expand my membership over on Patreon, or I have to have regular people that come in and put funds into my into the super chat, because they want to participate in our monthly raffle that we have. Where is? Don't tell me. I had it here. What'd I do with it? It's right. Okay. I'm looking for it. I know most everybody that was on it. I can go look though, because I know It's About Me has 10 tickets. Rails, or excuse me, Matt has 7 tickets. Rails has 4 tickets. I think DJ Elf has 1, and I forget who has the other. So it's supposed to be here in my book. Here it is. It's Just Me has 10. Matt King has 7. Rails has 4. Mitch has 1, and DJ Elf has 1. Okay, so that's the contest. So I need to keep raising money using that and my Patreon, to make sure not only that I can keep my property payment, but to save up enough money so that I can do these projects. Because here's the thing that's on the horizon. I want to ask what your guys' decision is. I've kind of made my decision. I'm hoping maybe you guys will sway me one way or the other or reinforce my decision. But I know that the roof is important. But there's about to be a food shortage, and if I can get ahead of it by just getting a little bit of a garden going, that might be a lot more important. So I'm gonna be focusing on getting the dirt in there, getting everything planted, and start working on getting compost piles and getting that system set up. Because from what I understand, it takes about 2 years to compost dirt. Um, I want to be able to bring in some potting soil for the first year. I mean, I am going to bring in local soil, but I want to bring in potting soil just to kind of to compensate for what it is for my shortcomings. Because my mom was the one that grew. I never really grew. I don't know much about growing, other than just kind of water a plant, pay attention to it, and stuff like that. So those are some projects, but the roof needs funding. Um, the I to be able to get some chickens in a chicken coop, I need funding, and then to be able to get goats and to be able to do a fence around that needs funding. Okay, so all of that stuff requires funding for me to be able to go do that. So either I make it here on YouTube by grinding away, putting up as much content as I can, trying to get as many views as I can, trying to get as much as I can, because I've got all this stuff that I got to put forward. Or I can just kind of like sit there and let it go to the wayside. And I kind of I really am pushing for it. So far this month, because of the way things worked out, I was able to save $80. And next month, because everything's like 30 days behind. So like whatever I do this month, I don't get paid for till next month on YouTube. So, so I'm a month behind, but I'm doing good this next month, which means I'll probably be able to put a few more bucks behind. And, I've got some other things going on where I'm trying to kind of like save up some money. I'm hoping that probably by the middle of next month, I should have somewhere around, almost $300 saved up. Yeah, well, you know what? One thing I learned, I was really bad with money when I was on the road, but once I had to learn how to really budget my money, because when I got here and all of a sudden I went from making like, at least $1,000 a month to making less than $300 a month. All of a sudden I had to really learn how to be tight, because I had to learn what priorities were and what to go without and what I couldn't go without. And like, how did I make things work? Because at that point in time, I was in a backslide, paying for farm girls animals, paying for the property, and trying to get everything else going as well. That was hard. That was really hard. I'm surprised I didn't crack sooner. But just getting all that stuff going, just trying to keep things going, really put me in the grind. But I will get this roof fixed one way or another. I'm working on it, and I'm just, as you guys go over and say hi to Stephanie, if any of you guys decide to, get land and stuff like that, it helps me out because she gives me a referral fee for doing that. And then that goes into my coffers to be able to pay for, a lot of the other stuff that I got to do. Okay. That's kind of what happened this month, is that because of some work that happened within the community, um a, a piece of property, so therefore all the money that came in, I was able to put most of it into savings instead of have to worrying about making a property payment. So okay, so that's okay. But that's kind of where I'm at there. um uh uh uh, Matthew. Okay. Talk Beth Joanna. Okay, all right, interesting. My humble opinion is we are in the fifth generation world. Yes, we've been in it since the start. I got to see some footage today because Tucker Carlson did an interview of a journalist that was embedded with the Russians, and they have these drones that are on fiber optic cables. Man, they're not nice. They're pretty lethal. Uh, and so the weapon of choice has become the shotgun with because it sprays, because they're, like bird shot is what they call it. So yeah, with the bird shot, that way it takes it out, and that's actually what they're calling them now. So that's kind of interesting. So massive amounts of people in denial about it. I call. Yeah. Well, nobody wants to, they're like, I remember when it was this. I mean, Donald Trump is trying to bring us back to the 1950s. He's trying to reset America, and it's not going to, you know, I'm trying to do that too. We need at least some local manufacturing people mad at Trump when they should be mad at previous 5 or 6 presidents. Tommy, I agree with you to some sense, but you also got to understand what it means to be the world reserve currency, which means you are the most expensive place to do business, which means manufacturing is going to get hollowed out. In exchange for being the world reserve currency, we got our manufacturing hollowed out. That was the deal with the devil, and that was the details of the contract by becoming the world reserve currency. And instead of standing up and realizing that, hey, we're a world reserve currency, we've got the shiniest turd in the bowl, everybody wants our stuff, so we're hollowing it out. But here's the thing, the higher end stuff, the technology, the services, and all that stuff, we can, we can sit there and let the rest of the world do the manufacturing so that they have a job and everybody else can prosper while we sit at the top of the table, consume, 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 consume. So the rest of the world would have been on bended knee to America, while we did that, if we would have actually explained it properly. The more I've learned about tariffs, the more I've learned about the dollar, the more I've learned about inflation, the more I've come to understand that as a world reserve currency, we are kind of that was kind of our fate. So okay, that's what he said. Not much kung fu. How about getting settled? Okay. Tuck manure with his poop bucket. Yeah, can you do a temporary fix for your roof? I I know. Well, it costs. I need to get a ladder. Is what I need to do. The ladder. I think I should get a ladder, and then maybe the following month get something else. Uh, oh, what is it? Get something else. Like get the product later on. But I want to get up there, see the roof, see how it's running. But the monsoons start in July. That's how long I have. Now I could just get a ladder, do a tarp, and then do a garden because I already have the tarp. And you know what? Honestly, that sounds like the smart decision. Yeah. Instead of doing the roof is going to have to wait. Because the way that everything's going, I think that getting a garden up and running is probably going to be a little bit more important. What do you think? Yeah, not much. Disability came through. Finally, have a vehicle. Nice, Kung Fu. Um, okay. All right, you finally got your apartment. Nice to hear that. I know you were talking about it. Congratulations. I'm glad you were able to get a place. Is it because you found work, or is it housing first, or what's the program that you're in? Oh yeah, for any snowflakes, read the cup. Okay. But anyways, that's just that's kind of I was kind of hoping I would be able to get the roof done before I got to the gardening, but I think the gardening might have to happen first. Roof first and my prolonged exposure to elements. But if I have a tarp, I've got a 20-foot tarp that goes over this whole thing. Okay. If I put that 20-foot tarp up there, tie it down properly, and now if once I have a ladder, I can put that tarp on and off. See, the problem is like today we've got like 40-mile-an-hour winds. Well, that starts blowing the tarp because it's I mean, I'm tying it to whatever it is that I can tie it to. Um, but at the end of the day, I'm kind of stuck with what I got. So I think that by getting a ladder, I can just keep putting the tarp on and off, and then that way, that's one less thing that I have to worry about, and my roof is taken care of. Because even during the winter, if I have to go through the winter without it, it will keep it about 5 degrees warmer in here, and I can get rid of some of this other stuff that's up here too, like maybe put some foam up there. That might be the more economical until I can do it right, because I may end up having to spend $5,000 just to tear this whole trailer apart and build it up from scratch, just because of the shape it was in when I got it. Growing season is it starts in June, June through September. So I should hard back on my disability in case in a week or two I got a lawyer. Um, Yeah, a lawyer is the way you're supposed to do it, man. The system's rigged. The only way you'll get disabilities is if you have a lawyer. And in San Francisco, they limit your access to those lawyers. But the city will help take care of that, and you get extra funding for doing all that. Your doctor actually has to recommend you for disability. Mine did. And she kept telling me and kept telling me, I'm like, nah, I'm good. I don't want it. And she recommended it, so I said, fuck it, I'll take it. You know. So hoping to land and do the homesteading thing. I bought a truck to make it easier doing the homestead. Yes, having a vehicle is important. Well, Kung Fu, you've got property in Colorado, Arkansas, and here in Arizona if you're looking to go through Stephanie. So that is that'll be something for you. Now I know that apparently Arkansas has a lot more restrictions. The least restrictions is going to be here in Arizona. Um, but I don't know what Colorado holds. I may have to go check it out one day. Because I mean, I like my place, but I could do without the winds. But then if I didn't have the winds, I'd have the rain. So I mean, it's trade one for the other, right? I mean, just like we did for the U.S. dollar. Okay, hoping to get land. Okay, so I'm curious for those of you. I know some of you guys are here for the homesteading, and I do homesteading videos from time to time to be able to show. What's up, Edward? Nice to see you, Rebel. Um, I do them from time to time. Oh yeah, by the way, I took a shower today. It felt nice. Um, but I do you know, are you guys, because I watch pinball, I watch popular preparedness, and I know that each one of them has their own different style, and I'm trying to find my style, and I'm hoping you guys can help me find my style, because my style needs to be kind of the style that you like, integrated with what I'm comfortable doing, that is a little bit easier for me. So next, that's why I said next week I'm just gonna, instead of putting out like 3 new segments a day, I'm gonna put out like one anchor segment and maybe one commentary throughout the day. But I'm gonna have those 3 anchor segments or one anchor segment put out like out over the next few days. So I'm gonna look at seeing it doing that. That's gonna be interesting. So um but I want to know, do you prefer like political commentary? Are you for the information, the details, what it is you don't know? Like, what is it? What value can I bring you guys value, but I'm trying to bring back a lot of those that have watched my channel before, and those that are coming across the channel. I kind of want to bring them into the community just like you guys, so that when I release a video, that they already know what they're getting and they're going to be happy to go watch it. So I know that pinball, his is more like political commentary. There's always politics that's spent into it. Because he's a Republican and he votes for Trump, and so therefore, his point of view and everything. There's no hey, let's look at both sides. It's kind of like a one-sided political view. Um, Popular preparedness. He focuses pretty much on food shortages, and so it's like if you want to know about food shortages, that's where you go. I don't. I mean, me duplicating that is that I'm just curious because I'm not sure about that. So, are you more into the information side? Are you more into it on the domestic level, on the international level? Are you worried about war and conflict? Like, tell me how to tailor my content to make sure that not only it will be appealing to you, but to viewers that are like you, because I want to bring more people like you guys into the community. So tell me what I can, like, how do I frame it? Because I could sit back and I could talk about the Ukraine Russia war, information and domestic side of things for me, Tuck. Okay, so you want to know the details, and you want to know domestic issues. So let me ask you something. If I were to do in the shorts, okay, um, if I were to do in the shorts, and this is what I was thinking about doing, like take the top 5 news topics, put a short out that's it's under 3 minutes. So basically, I explain the story, give my thoughts on it, and maybe do a call to action. I don't know exactly how to fully frame it, but I got up to 3 minutes on that whole segment. So do that. But that generally, older people generally don't watch shorts. That's generally bringing in the younger crowd, and most of the crowd here is like 35 to 65 plus. So so I'm just would that be neat? And then in the long form just do domestic issues. Okay, so let's see. Mostly okay. In yourself, your homestead problems like water. Okay, so I need to be putting out at least 1 or 2 videos a week doing that. I've kind of did that this week already, so that's good that I'm kind of already got that set. I'd like to stay here in Louisiana. Okay, yeah, for growing, it's always something in every region. Okay, okay, so let's see. Tuck, did you see that Into the Wild movie? You remind me of that. No, I'm not sure I've seen that. Your interpretations and discussions we have around topics is why I can tolerate the news from you, Tuck. Okay, so because I'm bringing, because it's more unbiased? I'm trying to bring you both sides so that you understand it, and kind of do the devil's advocate. Okay, I could see that. I second a cult. Okay. Information, domestic side. Okay. All right. 2 times what Beth said. Okay. So it's a rough call on that, Tuck. Maybe just like, okay. Second, Beth. Okay. All right. So we've got a split in the crowd, but that's okay. So my interpretations and discussions around the topic is why. Okay. So that would be my anchor. So, people that want my interpretations and discussions around certain topics. So I'm going to pick topics because here's the thing. I'm going to pick topics that are surrounding so I guess my deep dive is going to be on international politics. My daily videos are going to be on domestic issues, and let's see, domestic issues. Okay, and then and then probably doing 1 or 2 homestead videos a week. Okay, so that kind of helps me fill out my schedule. Chris, okay, I'm just getting in here. Hey, what's up, Chris? Nice to see you, buddy. You might see me with the title that says, "Holy shit, no snowflakes allowed." Okay, understand that I'm laughing while I'm putting some of these up because sometimes I gotta laugh. That's why sometimes you'll see the "holy shit" one. Is because I need a laugh. I've had such a long day. I just need something that makes me happy. And sometimes it's just something snarky that's kind of sarcastic and most people won't get, but I get because I understand it because I wrote it, type of thing. It becomes my own little inside joke. So every once in a while, like I'll do the like, holy shit, I'm on Patreon. Oh my god. I laughed for a good 10 minutes after that one. That was funny. I enjoyed that one. But you know what? It made a statement. That was the best part of it. So, damn. Okay, let's see here. The question, Chris, was what aspects of Tuck's news topics do you like? Yeah, that's true, Beth. I voted on it. On the list of questions. No. Well, here's the thing, Beth. I tried to do it, but I couldn't articulate it in the questions right. Because that's why that's why I thought I would do it tonight on the live stream and ask you guys and kind of get a pulse because you guys represent certain there are other viewers that are like you. They may not be as vocal, they may not be here as often as you are, but they have the same likes and dislikes that you do in content because of the age demographic or the region and stuff like that. So if I want to bring in more like-minded people, I have to understand what it is that's bringing them in. And so sometimes that just requires a verbal discussion. Now the poll that I did do earlier, now that one was easy to do. So we're covering now live. Yes, I didn't get a list of questions. Yeah, well, see, the interviewee never gets a list of questions from me. I want to keep you on your toes. Good God. A roach just tried to climb in my mouth. Did you bite down on it? I saw one channel say if the algorithm rewarded them big time for staying away from politics. Um, Here's the thing. I'm not Mitch. I totally get that. Um, but uh, I don't know what that sign is. But anyways, okay. But I get that. But you have two types of creators. You have a creator that is in entertainment or does something that's like that something like Mr. Beast or something like that, or even some of these guys have built like super large channels, but they've also got side business models, and their channel is about bringing business to them. So you've got those that just rely on the AdSense, sponsorships, brand deals, and maybe have some novelty products. And those type of creators, yeah, they're going to be rewarded if they do what the algorithm wants, because the algorithm is trying to train you. But there, the style of YouTube that I want to build is this is instead of worrying about the YouTube algorithm, because at that point in time you become the slave. And not only that, with the amount of disinformation and the required amount of disinformation, that you're really not able to speak too many truths. Therefore, when you become a lackey of YouTube, it's great until it goes away. That's great, and you'll survive for a while until it turns on you. So it's better just to carve out your own little fiefdom. I don't need a million subscribers. What I need is about 100 people to come over to Patreon that really like my content, and that 100 people will give me a livable income for the rest of my life. Is all it takes. It doesn't take a lot. And people that are interested in hearing uncensored content that will come straight from the horse's mouth. And at that point in time, when I get to a point where I have about 30 paid members, which I have like about 15 now or so, 10 or 15. No, more like yeah, about 10 or 15 paid subscribers. Those, once I double that number of subscribers over there, a lot of my time here on YouTube is going to be throttled back, because it's going to be about taking people on YouTube saying, hey, look, if you want more behind the scenes content, you're going to have to come over here, and then just have the slow trickle in as I build up to that 100 members. But once I get to about 30, I don't have to put the amount of time in on YouTube, and I can put it towards people that that are going to value what I have, because they want to move to the next level. I mean, everybody wants to use a free bike until they have to pay for it, and then when you find out who's willing to pay for it, you understand who really values that bike and who just came in for it for convenience. Um, Tux Desert Homestead, yes. So you're doing something I see nobody else do. You're homesteading in the desert. Yeah, that is true. It's dangerous here. In Little Washington, North Carolina. Huh. Okay, so true. Yeah, Chris. Oh. What's up, Steve Austin? Okay. Hello, Chris. I just thought you might have got caught up in the turf war. No worries. That's funny, but I don't know. This is just kind of my thoughts, and what I want to build is I want to be able to have subscribers. I want to be able to have a tight knit, close community, because here's the thing. And I learned this through the free man movement. Okay, there are very few people that really want to be free. A lot of people talk about it. A lot of people posture about it. A lot of people even lie to themselves and convince themselves that they're free, but they're not. Okay, they're not free because they're willing to submit without question. And when you follow me, you're not submitting without question. We get to look at both sides. We're taking a bird's eye view, and we'll probably end up going against the mainstream for most of it, because every time something comes out, it's being slanted one way or another. What's the facts on both sides? How do we truly interpret this so that we can make an educated decision? Everybody, if it wasn't for certain people coming out and talking about why Russia had vindication to do what it did, everybody in the West, and myself included, would be thinking that it was an unprovoked war, not realizing that it was a provoked war. It's those newscasters, it's those voices that are out there that that speak in the darkness, and every once in a while somebody hears it, and it's enough to be able to bring awareness to it. And I'm looking for those voices so that I can get that information, so that I can make an educated decision as well. And I bring that information to you and hope that it helps you make that decision. That's why I share the things that I do and kind of in the way that I do. But I mean, I'm getting decent retention from subscribers. I'm just not getting good retention from non-subscribers. I'm getting a 35%, a 35% returning viewer rate, which is freaking phenomenal. Thank you guys. Thank you. Because I'm starting to find out who I'm starting to build that regular crowd. And that's really what's going to build this up, because I will have the regular crowd that I will sit and I will take care of over time. I'm not going to just completely quit YouTube or social media. But what I also want to do is kind of build that close-knit community, that community where we're passing resources, knowledge, information, and being a supportive community. If you're coming over to Patreon, I want to encourage you to be a part of the chat. Your stuff is private. You can be private. Nobody's going to talk about what goes on outside of there. This is our little close-knit group. All right. We can even call ourselves the Branch Davidian if you want. Okay. I wonder how many people laughed at that one. Okay. Probably not. All right. I thought it was funny. Okay, set up a catchment system to multiple IBC totes. Yeah, that's right, Tuck. The facts, that's what I look at, both sides. Yes, we need to know both sides. The reason why people tune in to news is because they trust it. Okay, I don't want to be your newscaster. I want to be I want to be I want to be that warning call, your Paul Revere. The guy that says, "Hey, they're coming. You better be watching out." And I want to offer you solutions. So, like I said, if you come over and you become a free member over on Patreon, because I do share things even with the free members, so you don't have to pay to be a part of the community. I just need 100 paid members. I may have 200 or 300 unpaid members, and I'm still taken care of, because wherever I go, you go, because you guys are my community. But the thing is, I put something out there that's talking about how AI is not only doing its censorship, but it is kind of trying to recreate the narrative. And by doing that, it's completely influencing society based upon a predetermined set of facts that may not necessarily be facts. And now they're finding out, and part of the reason why they don't want the whole Chinese system out here is because the Chinese system allows you to use multiple prompts to actually undo that, and including settings to undo that. And now all the AI firms, that's OpenAI, that's XAI, that's all the AI firms, are now looking into ways to be able to make sure that that doesn't happen, because they want to make sure that you only get the information that they want you to have. Google, here's the thing about Google. People think that Google was late to the game. Google was not late to the game. Google just waited till everybody else released theirs before they released theirs. And Google, in that whole point in time, was watching how the market was and figuring out what the products that were popular and how to package them together. So Google let everybody else do the work while sitting there and piggybacking off of that, figuring out what was popular, what was not. Google may end up being relevant, but video format may not be necessarily as relevant as it once was moving forward, because we're all going to be forced onto these chatbots, including our search engine. More people now are using ChatGPT or Grok or any of these others, Gemini, as a way to be able to shop for products and to be able to look for things. And this is another thing that not only hurts YouTubers, but it really is a market disruptor, especially if once you go in one direction. So one of the things that I'm working on, and one of the things that you should, if you're a content creator or if you're doing any type of content for business, you should definitely consider making your titles and your thumbnails friendly for the chatbot to find, so that they can use you as a point of authority. And that will be how you get your views in the future, versus getting different, other types of things. So this is, the content creator is going to change. And so I can either change with that, and it's going to be a long, hard road. And I'm going to be forced to peddle products that I don't want to pedal in order to survive. I'd rather get ahead of the curve now because I probably got about 18 months before that becomes a reality. So if over the next 18 months I can pick up a few subscribers here and a few subscribers there that are paid over on Patreon, that will be absolutely fantastic. That will keep this channel going. Okay. So if you're already not pissing somebody off, you're telling the news. You're not telling the news. Yeah, I know, right? But see, the thing is that's what they don't want. Okay, you ever read the book Fahrenheit 451? I was forced to read it, but I'm glad I did. Um, any book that had any controversial words, because everything was whitewashed, woke, and PC, those books were burned, and any books that were kept around had all those words redacted to basically the books were no more, and they had wall TVs. After listening at 300 speed in real time is so slow. Yeah, I know, right? You've got me into doing the 2 times speed, man. You've got me into doing the 2 times speed, but I don't know. So, what's up, Jeremy? Nice to see you. I wondered where you were, Bucknut. Yeah, well, Bucknut's always around. Even when you think he's not around, he's around. He likes to lurk. But so tomorrow we've got like 40-mile-an-hour winds for like the next 3-4 days in the afternoon. And the sun doesn't get over to the other side of my trailer till about 1 o'clock in the afternoon. Compared to what I was doing, I don't know. So, well, no, we had a lot more cloud cover. That was why. I don't know. So messages need to be caps, all that other stuff. Okay. Okay. But I just this is the way that I see my future playing out, and I hope that a lot of you join. I know some of you are already paid members over there, and those of you that are paid members over there are also like very active over here, and I really appreciate that. It's a nice thing. But anyways, yeah. Sorry, I'm exhausted. It's been a long week. You realize I put up what was it? 20 videos. I did 10 live streams. I even did a couple of shorts. No, actually I put up more than 10 videos. I put up more than I did a lot of live streams. I did a lot of work. I put out 30 pieces of content this week. I really try hard to remember to do the all caps. I'm an old drunk and half special. Okay. I'm here sometimes just listen because I'm doing other stuff, and yeah, I can't chat. I like the idea of prioritizing food production for strategic and content reasons. Yes. Yeah, and as you guys, those of you guys that contribute to the overall the overall the stuff, you guys get rewarded. I mean, honestly, I think it's a fair deal. Who here goes to the movies? Who here used to go to the movies and probably hasn't been to the movies in about 5 years? Type 1, type 2 if you still go to the movies, and type 3 if you don't go to the movies at all, never really have. I'm curious because I used to go to the movies all the time until about 5 years ago. Maybe 10 years ago. Dude, I wanted to be a movie critic. Two barely. Okay. So, okay. So we've got we've got some stuff. All right. Well, think of it like this. You used to take your girl to the movies, and it would cost you like $20, $10 for your ticket, or $8 for your ticket, $8 for her ticket. And then you'd probably spend another $20 on popcorn. So you spend $50 on date night. You don't go to that, but you still want some sort of thing. So think of it like this. This is your movie ticket entertainment. We go a few times a year. I don't know. I'm Netflix. Once Netflix really kind of took off and became dominant, because they were really good up until like right after 2020, right after the lockdowns. That's when Netflix kind of went downhill, and I stopped watching them. I stopped watching movies altogether after Netflix. I just recently watched 3 movies just this last weekend because I need to wind down. Yeah, you've definitely been working hard, Tuck. Thank you. I don't go to movies. Yeah, okay. Yeah, well, I don't go to movies anymore, but I don't know. I think that, oh, However it works, but this is again my eventual goal. If you guys really want to know where I want this channel to end up over the next 12 to 18 months, is I want to reduce the amount of content that I'm putting over here on YouTube. Have enough paid members to where I can focus strictly on Patreon, building my website, and kind of like focusing on more of the business stuff. Um, I get lucky after the movie though. You stop putting out after I left you looking like a glazed donut wouldn't kiss you goodbye. Oh. That's funny. That's funny. That is really funny. Um, I completely forgot where I was. Oh well, I'm not supposed to remember. But no, where I want to be in the next 12 to 18 months is I want to focus on building a community with those that want to move to the next level, that are, because there's dedicated preppers, and then there's those that aren't. And I'm not a prepper, don't consider myself a prepper. I barely consider myself a homesteader. Squirrel. I barely consider myself a homesteader. Okay. So for me, I've spent a lot of time acquiring knowledge because I want to know what's coming, and I want to know the truth. And then I want to find people that value that truth and want to build a community around that truth. Because I don't, people. I was talking with Clyde, and I was telling him like how I came across Billy Meyer. I came across him very reluctantly. I didn't just sit there and go, ah. And I don't need like Billy. I don't care what your religion is. I don't even care if you're spiritual. You can be freaking atheist for all I care. Just as long as you're respectful about your beliefs. The same way I try to be. But for the most part, I have been moving in this direction for so many years, hoping to find like-minded people, and I had to create a YouTube channel. So I'm hoping that over the next 18 months that I can find at least another 15 to 20 people that value that connection enough to where we can start moving over there behind Patreon, because we all are fully recognizing that all of social media, if it's free, it's censored. If it's free, it's slanted. If it's free, it's biased. Okay. And it's not really for your benefit, it's for your consumption, for their benefit. Versus when you go behind a paywall, what ends up happening is you end up saying, hey, is that you're buying into the content and stuff like that. I used to have the past where I could go see a movie, 2 movies a week, for free. Then I bought the yearly popcorn bucket. Oh God. Yeah, I was never that rich. What I used to do, in the AMC theaters in San Francisco, because I would go get the membership, because after you go to 10 movies, you get a free movie. I go around and pick up free tickets and people's ticket stubs, and I go in, take them in. That's how I get free movies. And then I get into one movie, and then I would go skip around because it was like multi-floor. So you just go down 1 or 2 floors and just duck in and find a movie you like. Um, but they would get hip to that from time to time. But for the most part, that's how I used to do movies when I was in San Francisco. That was fun. San Francisco was pure anarchy. And you want to know what? I felt more free in that city, more free to do what I wanted, be who I was, and not really look over my shoulder like I did in San Francisco. And a lot of people would wonder why. But you got to realize the alphabet soup, where do you think they go to retire? Okay, they go there. It's a big hub for all those guys. It's also a technology hub because most of them are into technology as part of their job. And so therefore that's where they retire. My security guard was a retired NSA agent. One of my instructors was a retired NSA agent. I mean, I've met so many of the different of the alphabet soups. You'll never hear anybody say that I was CIA, but you'll learn who they were just by the stories they tell. But yeah, that's what it was like. And so, in order for those guys to be able to move autonomously, you have to have anarchy, and that's why they're all there. Is because, dude, they can't take you to jail. The jails are so overcrowded. Have you heard the expression? If it's free, you're the product. Yeah, that's pretty much right. If it's free, you're the product. Yeah. Um, yeah, if it's free, you're the meal. Just look at it that way. Don't, because most people go product. Yeah, okay, whatever. I'm not a product. But no, no, no. Basically, you're the meal. So free is shitty stuff. I agree. Why radio plays the same songs? Well, yeah, because they're getting kickbacks for it. It's all for money. Um, when you read your own comment, realize how redneck you sound. Um, that's funny. Um, I was born in the Mission District and missed the Mission style burritos. Oh, dude, I used to stay in a hostel over there. An Iranian guy used to own it. We used to mess. Well, there was a couple of people because we've been there for so long. Because I couldn't find a place. I was spending $800 a month to stay in a bunkhouse right there in the Mission District, one block or 1 or 2 blocks off of Market Street, in one of the back alleys, and anyways, yeah, we because he'd get mad and then he would stop in the right in the middle of yelling at you, bend over, pick up a penny. So what the guys started doing is they started gluing pennies to the ground. They get him mad and then and then he'd have the pennies stuck, and then he'd go in there, go get it, go scrape up the pennies, and then he would start screaming at him, but he'd start screaming at him worse because now he made him, yeah, because he knew that he was getting messed with. But yeah, I stayed there for probably about 6 8 months. um yeah, that was a cool place. I got to know a lot of people there. I got to see a lot of things. So but yeah, the Mission District was nice. I used to sleep over in the Mission District when I would sleep out on the streets because of all the warehouses out there. It was much safer. Because if I remember it correctly, that's also where what is it? The new baseball park is the Giants baseball park, the one they got after the yeah, glue pennies. Yeah, that's pretty much what they would do to him. Because yeah, I mean, yeah, he a penny saved is a penny earned in his book. Mm. But anyways, and I got me a glass of milk too. I am endlessly tired and endlessly hungry. I can't seem to get enough food or enough sleep. Don't know what's wrong with me. I might have a tapeworm. How do I check? Does anybody know? Okay. All right, guys. So, what are your plans this weekend? Let me. That's going to be the final question I'm going to ask. We're going to talk for a couple more minutes. I'm exhausted. I still got stuff to do after this. I just I want to go to sleep. I took an hour and a half nap at like 10:30 today. Um, yeah, from 10:30 to 11 because I got my last video up and I was like, okay, I can relax. And then next thing I know, it's like 11 o'clock and I'm like, crap. Um, and my videos come out and stuff like that. So, Tuck, see if you've got a tapeworm. Tuck, you've got to get pegged. Um, yeah, not gonna happen. Not gonna happen. Not gonna happen. I know that there's a lot of, I bet there's a couple in here that might want to volunteer, but no, not gonna happen. Not gonna happen. I'm probably gonna hear about that later tonight too. Tuck got pegged. Yeah, just hey, bite down on the stick. So when I first started talking to Pebbles, fucking that's what Jeremy and Alfred used to tease me about. Just she's a dude. Just remember, bite down on the stick. Keep quiet. It'll be over soon. Okay. So it's good to chill a little after that thing the other day. Yeah. Well, I don't know. I had such a good community with you guys. Like it's like I remember what it was like the first time I had like a gun go off on me. I fucking dude, I almost jumped out my window twice that night. I was on the third story. So the fact that I woke up the next morning, I wasn't jittery, I wasn't depressed, I wasn't in an emotional roller coaster, I wasn't continuously reliving the incident. I'm good. That's all I need to do. Because I mean, the thing is as time passes, all that other stuff will go away. But the last thing, the thing that makes it really bad is when you keep reliving it and you keep going through that cycle. And having the long conversations that I did to be enough of a distraction gave me enough of a reprieve from my mind so that my mind didn't do that. If I would have just been by myself and I couldn't have talked to anybody about it, I probably would have gone nuts and I'd probably be in the hospital right now. So that you guys as a community came there and Mm, I've been shot at before. It sucks not going to lie. It didn't bother me. I didn't feel fully threatened. Because I knew that there was enough. See, my only thing is, and this is why I leave breadcrumbs over on Patreon. This is why I'm really big on privacy, because some of the breadcrumbs I leave there, I don't want to get out, because those are my breadcrumbs in the event that something happens to me. Because here's the thing: if I didn't have a live stream going, if I wasn't kind of talking about, hey, passing Rastaman's house, all this other stuff, plus having relationships with my neighbors, if I didn't have all those things in conjunction, yeah, I would. He probably, yeah, I'd probably be in a shallow grave right now. There's a possibility. I don't know. I don't know how crazy this guy really is. Um, I just got to see his super crazy. There was more than I wanted to deal with at that point in time. I just, yeah, I don't. Uh, so yeah, it just, the thing is, I had community, and community was there when I needed it so that I could function and have a quick recovery. Thank you guys so much for being such a great part of my community and being there for me. All of you that have my phone number, that texted me, that left me comments in the videos, that talked to me on the phone, that made sure to check up on me, and make sure I was okay. All of you guys played an important part, and I want to say thank you very much, because without that, it would have been a much different outcome for me, and I would probably not be in as pleasant of a situation. So understand, you guys, thank you very much. I thought it best to leave you alone, let you deal with it in your own time. No, my worst enemy is this. And considering I already deal with PTSD from a work accident, um, the thing is every time something happens, it just keeps running in my head. So having that conversation, why do you think I did 3, 4 live streams that day? Is because if I don't turn off my brain, that is what will put me in the hospital. That's what's always put me in the hospital. It's because it won't shut off. And so the only way I can shut it off is to distract it, and by distracting it through conversation. If I'm in one of those moods where I'm like, I don't feel good, I don't want to talk, I'll just say, hey, man, I'm good. Or I just won't talk to you until I'm ready to talk. That's generally the way I am. But no, in those situations, when I go through like a high stress situation, having people just to talk to as a distraction without continuously dwelling on it. We don't need to talk about it. Just somebody to talk to give me that distraction is probably the most important thing that you could do for me, to help me kind of keep on the straight and narrow, because that's what would sink my battleship 15 years ago, and why I ended up in the hospital so many times. And so I've learned different coping mechanisms, but sometimes when you're out in the middle of nowhere and all you've got is your thoughts, that's not a good thing. As far as we can just hang out with my fur babies, having someone to talk to when ready is nice. Yeah, it is nice, Edward. All right. So, anyways, guys, I want to say thank you. Wife wants to watch the NFL draft. Have a good night, y'all. All right, you guys have a good night. Well, I'm actually going to close out here anyways. I didn't know that the draft was on. It says I thought the draft was in February, not April. Huh. Huh. All right. Well, I guess the draft is tonight. But anyways, with that being said, guys, if you are in the paid membership, okay, so you are a digital homesteader or a sovereign operator, you will be getting access to tomorrow's live stream. It will be unlisted, just kind of like we do the ones in the mornings, but it'll be just the digital homesteaders. So what I'll do is I'll put the link in a post. I will come in if I've got a couple people there. I think it was just me and Beth last time, but hey, we had a good conversation. But yeah, it'll be about 3 o'clock Eastern. Okay, so thanks for being here. If I don't see you tomorrow, I will see you